Hi. Okay.
Good day, Carmen. Hope you're doing well.
Good. I hope I am. How are you doing?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm good.
Sorry for making you waiting a little bit. It
Oh,
is
that's okay.
some connection issues.
Oh, no worries.
Also,
It's okay.
I would like to introduce you to my supervisor, Dr. Sana. She's with us today.
Hi,
Oh, hello.
salam, dear. How are you?
Good, good. Nice to
meet you.
Yes, likewise. Yeah.
Okay.
Dr. Sana has a PhD in drama and has a PA in political science. And she is the head of the Department of English at the College of Arts, University of Baghdad. Welcome, both of you.
Thank you.
Thank you, dear. Honored to meet you.
Oh, likewise. Thank you.
Right.
Carmen, we stopped last meeting on a question I asked you about the uses of the past. And it is a recurrent theme in most of your plays. And before starting with the refugee hotel, I will ask you about certain symbols that you used in Chil con Carne, and especially that one of the cedar tree. What does it signify for you?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. So first of all, I mean, that play, like most of my plays, is autobiographical.
Yeah.
And when I was a child, I did have a cedar tree that I would climb and
Really nice.
go to every day after school. And I still go see that cedar tree. Like even now I go and visit that tree.
Was it in Chile
often.
or in Canada?
No, in Canada, in Vancouver.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So it's rooted in reality, the tree.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think it's also a great symbol in the play.
It is. Yes.
So
I read about that. Yes.
Yeah, so like I think I mean there's the obvious symbol of a tree having roots.
Yes.
And this character Manuelita being uprooted from her roots. It's also a symbol of safety for her, where she's trying to find her ground in Canada. She doesn't speak English yet, and she's trying to assimilate by wearing a blonde wig.
That's another symbol I want to ask you about.
Yeah, so she's trying to assimilate, but she has no idea where she's at, right? She's in a state of limbo. And this tree is kind of her home, right? Is the place where she feels safe. It's also like her confidant. I think it's a beautiful symbol to have on stage, to have a tree on stage.
May I interrupt here? Does she believe or I don't know, feel that she belongs to that tree?
Oh, yes.
Feeling of belonging. So if the tree is rooted, just she's standing all alone on the stage or in that place. Let me ask you about the tree in Vancouver. It is a lonely tree. There are no nearby trees, or at least it is standing there. And when you go there, you don't only feel belonging, but you feel one with that tree, as if you are in search for your roots.
Yeah, so me personally, when I go to the tree, I just feel very close to that tree.
You feel safe.
Yeah, and it's part of a little group of trees. So the area that it's in, which is at the University of British Columbia student housing, all those houses have been torn down. Everything has been torn down. And so I was certain that that tree was going to be torn down, but it hasn't. So it's still there in this little group of trees.
Which is for you great news.
Oh, yeah. I love going to see the tree.
Yeah, yeah,
and hang out with the
because
tree.
it reminds you of your childhood. Maybe you have lots of memories there. So it's a kind of compensation for a home that is lost somewhere.
Yeah,
Not
I
only
mean,
for you, but for the character as well.
Indigenous people.
yeah, certainly for the character. I don't have those questions at this moment in my life. I'm very clear as to where I belong and where my home is, and it's not a painful thing for me, right, at this stage in my life. But certainly for the character, right, for the 8-year-old character, the tree symbolizes whatever home she can find or can make for herself. It's her private space, right? It's the space where she be in privacy, because she doesn't have privacy at home, and she sticks out like a sore thumb in mainstream Canada. So this is her private space. She also spies on people, like people don't know she's up there. She's climbed to the top so she can look down and spy on people. And it's also like a secret place for her. Yeah.
Yeah, just like a secret garden or something like that, a secret window to the world, in which
Yeah.
she tries to understand and watch, so that she would find a safe haven, right?
Right.
That's right. Yeah.
Exactly, doctor. And one of
Right.
most of the incidents, once she is frustrated and she's afraid of something, she runs to Cedar and she tries to ride it as if she is protected by it. This is regularly happened. And also when she hears that there's a news of chopping down trees, she also trying to ride Cedar as if she is protecting it and protected by it.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, yeah. And it's also like she so as you know, like Canada is on stolen land, right? Like there are over 50 Indigenous nations in Canada, right? And that land was stolen by the British and the French. And in Vancouver, in this entire province, there was never even a treaty with the Indigenous nations here. So further east, at least the British and the French sat down and made some kind of an agreement, usually very unfair, right? Some kind of an agreement with the Indigenous nations. That's not what happened in my province. The British just arrived and they just stole the land. There's no treaty, there's no agreement with the Indigenous nations. So where this tree is and where Vancouver is situated is it's on the stolen land of 3 nations. But what all these nations have in common is how sacred the cedar tree is for all of them. Yeah,
like spiritual protection.
Yeah, and the cedar tree has a very huge significance for the Musqueam Nation, which is where my tree sits. It's also kind of like the cosmology of Manuelita, right? Of this character, the cosmology is similar to the cosmology of the Musqueam Nation in that the tree represents so much for her. And the land, right? The land represents so much for her that she wants to respect that land. She wants to respect the tree that the land is sitting on. She wants to say, like, basically it's a symbol of she belongs to this tree, she belongs to this land, or she's looking for a way to belong to this land by respecting the tree that is on this land, as opposed to the other way around, right? As opposed to just taking over the land and chopping down the trees, which is what she's fighting against in the play.
Right, a very nice, simple, and a very insightful one.
I think so.
Thank you. And another thing, speaking of Manuelita and her struggle in assimilating in a new culture, and acquiring or learning a new language between Spanish and English, and the problems that she faces in her school, and she spends a lot of days muted. And but one day she, after writing a letter for her grandmother, and she tries to like polish her hands and nails in white color, and especially this color, white color. Also, can you comment about that symbol of polishing her hands?
Yeah. So one of the through lines of the play is internalized racism.
Mm-hmm.
So she has internalized this racism, right? So in other words, she wants to be white and she wants to be blonde.
In order to be liked by others.
Yeah. And so first, so that's something that I did as a kid. I remember taking liquid paper and trying to, you know, color my skin white. And a lot of kids did that. Like when I remember when I put on the play the first time in Vancouver in 1995.
Yes.
And as far as I know, I might be wrong about this, but I've done a lot of research on it. So I think this is correct. I think it was the first time in Canadian theater history that a character did that on stage. You know, that a non-white character tried to paint their skin white on stage in front of the audience.
Yes.
And it had a huge effect. Like I had so many people come up to me after the play, like people who are not white, you know, brown and black people, to tell me that they had done the same thing when they were children. That they had tried to paint their skin white or anything, like they had tried
to change or to
to bleach their skin. Like I remember one man telling me, and he was Indian, like from India, telling me that when he was a kid here, he had tried everything. Like he had tried talcum powder and see if it could stick, and he had tried flour.
And soon they realize that it does not work, and they try to reconcile everything.
Yeah, I mean, it's exactly, right? So part of the journey in Chile con Carne is how she tries to reconcile this, right? So at the end of the play, she takes off the blonde wig.
She takes that being gown that she uses to wear when she's alone, right?
Yeah, so after she hears that her grandma has died, and that they can't say goodbye to her because they're on the blacklist.
Because she's far away.
Yeah, she goes back to the tree and she takes off the wig, which is the first step in a long journey for her, probably, to accept
like a self-realization.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And
so again, we go back. Sorry, Milad. We go back to the tree. She's spending or going through a journey trying to fit in different ways, and finally the realization comes to her while she is beside the tree again. The roots, right? The feeling that she belongs to that tree, which I don't know. Don't you think that this is the tree? Well, in mythology, there is this tree, which is the tree of the worlds. And Norwegian mythology, that is the tree which has 9 worlds, and the whole life is going through a long journey until you reach the 9th world, which is the world of man. So I don't know whether you have read about that or not, but I feel the way she tries to fit in is a journey towards discovering her reality, and finally she does that beside the tree, which means that she finally realizes that she is different, but she appreciates that difference, and she realizes that, so what? I'm different. I'm not like others, which means that I am distinguished. I am somebody special, not somebody that I should be ashamed of, or um, um, whether they treat me well or not. I am what I am, and I accept that. Is this what she really does finally when she comes to the tree and she takes off the wig? Do you think that I'm in the right track?
Yes, absolutely. That's exactly it. Yeah. You know, and it's not a done deal. Like, I think it's the beginning of her journey towards self-acceptance of her identity.
Mhm.
Yeah. But yes, that's exactly right. Yeah.
Thank you, Carmen. Thank you, Doctor. A very nice link. And Carmen, another thing that struck me in all your plays, and starting with Chil con Carne especially, is that the use of the sounds and the songs, and especially the songs that are related to revolutionist singers. So I know that you are a director. So comment on being a director beside and having this place in that stage direction and in that technique. Also tell us about this.
Yeah. So first of all, I mean, I come from a community that, you know, the Chilean, Chile in general, and certainly the Chilean community in exile, which I was raised in,
Yes.
music is a key part of your day and of your life, right? So when you get together as a group, you always end up singing. There's always somebody who plays the guitar.
Yes.
And the music that I use in both those plays, in Chile con Carne, in Refugee Hotel, is music that was banned in Chile during the dictatorship, right? And so the act of singing those songs is already an act of resistance.
Exactly.
Because they are songs that were illegal in Chile during the dictatorship. And quite often the people who wrote and composed those songs were murdered during the dictatorship. Certainly that's the case with Victor Jara, right? One of Chile's most renowned singers of that time, who was murdered a week after the coup. But so when I have directed the play, like, so when I've directed Refugee Hotel,
Yes.
I really, really make sure that that is a huge moment in the play. Like when they listen to the record and they sing along to it.
They feel
I,
a different
yeah,
sense of solidarity.
yeah, and also just the effect that that music has on the characters, right? And I've heard from many people who have seen the play that they've never seen anything like that on stage. Like they never thought that you would be able to get away with playing a piece of music like that on stage, right? And the characters just kind of listen to it, right? And then they start to sing along or not, right? But that it's very rare to see that on stage. Like usually when you've got music on stage, something's happening, as like something much more active is happening, not just a bunch of people listening to it. So it's definitely a special moment in the Refugee Hotel where when the audience realizes, oh, okay, we're just going to witness these characters listen to this song. And we're also listening to this song. And so we're all in this together right now. It's almost like the fourth wall almost disappears in that moment because we are all in the room together doing the same thing at the same time, which is just listening to this song. And it's a really interesting moment when you see the audience realize, oh, they're just listening to this song. There's not going to be like a scene happening at the same time that they're listening to this song. They're not going to start doing a choreographed dance to this song, right? They're just listening and we're watching them be affected by that. So interestingly, it's also a very theatrical moment. And it's a moment that the audience doesn't see coming, because it's rare to see that on stage. You just see a bunch of characters listening to a song.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's so interesting, Carmen. Thank you. So you are like using the technique of the technique of the fourth wall. You are not intending at breaking this.
The Chile con Carne, there is no fourth wall. So
Mhm.
she's talking directly to the audience
To the
the whole time.
audience. Yes,
Yeah.
she introduces Sidar to the
Yeah.
audience and trying to give them some kind of traditional food. She offers them.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. But yeah, so with Chile con Carne, there's no fourth wall. She
Yeah.
is talking directly to the audience. And in the refugee hotel, there is a fourth wall.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And in a land called I don't remember.
In which one?
In a land called I don't remember. Do we have a fourth wall?
Yes, there is a fourth wall. Yeah, and same with and in Anywhere But Here,
yes.
when Carolita, the main character, talks to the audience, of course, there's no fourth wall.
Just like
right?
Manuelita.
Yeah, she's just talking directly to the audience, but for the other characters in Anywhere But Here, there is a fourth wall.
Mhm.
Yeah, so it's like Carolita in Anywhere But Here is the portal, the entry point for the audience
Yes,
into this world of magic realism.
Yes, we will come into that hopefully next interview.
Okay.
Anywhere but here.
Yeah.
And let's talk a little about the significance of the titles. Especially the refugee hotel is so obvious, but I mean if there is any figurative aspect about chile con carne, which is, I knew that it is kind of also traditional Chilean food. And in a land called I don't remember. If you are not Carmen, the writer of this place, if you are a reader, how do you interpret these titles?
Sorry, and you just cut out there for us for a little moment at the top there. So you were talking about subtitles? No.
Yes, the titles, the choice of your titles of this place. I mean, in a land called I don't remember and chile con carne. I knew that chile con carne is a kind of traditional food, Chilean traditional food, right?
Oh, I see. Okay.
So your choice of these titles in terms of symbols, and if you are not Carmen, let's say the writer of this place, you are a reader. How do you perceive these titles and their significance?
Yeah, so chile con carne is actually a Mexican food.
Yes.
And to be clear, I don't even think it's a Mexican food. I think it's a Mexican American food from the southern part of the United States.
Mm-hmm.
And certainly at that time, the only reference point that mainstream Canadians in Vancouver had to Latin America.
Yes.
So first of all, they barely even knew where Latin America was, even though it's part of the same continent of the Americas.
Yes.
But the only reference point many of them had was chile con carne, the food, because it was very, very mainstream. Like you could go to the supermarket and buy a can of chile con carne. And so they'd never heard of Chile, the country. So the only reference point they had was this like Mexican American food that they saw in the supermarket called chile con carne, right? So if you were from Chile, lots of times a kid would go, "You're from Chile, chile con carne."
And this is what Manuelita faces at school when she was mocked. When she was mocked by children, oh, you are from Mexico, go back to Chile, and they only, just like what you have just said, they only mention that kind of food. They don't know that there is a country.
That's right. Yes.
So that's why you are trying to use that like that title in order to identify your home, Chile.
Yes, that's right. And then the refugee hotel, I mean, that is what we called the hotel. Like every city in Canada that accepted Chilean refugees had a very, a modest hotel where the
Mhm.
government would place you. Until they found you proper housing.
Yes.
And of course, nobody could speak English. So nobody knew the name of the actual hotel they were staying in because they couldn't speak English. So everybody just referred to it as the refugee hotel. Like
Mhm.
everybody would be like, oh, I met you at the refugee hotel, or
Mhm.
which refugee hotel did you stay at? Or you would just say, oh yeah, go visit that person they're at the refugee hotel right now. So that's why I called it the refugee hotel. And I also think that it's news. It certainly was news when the play came out. To most Canadians had no idea
Mhm.
that when you arrive in Canada as a refugee,
Yes.
you're put there. There's some hotels that are bought out by the government where
Mhm.
you're put up. And I think it's a dichotomy, right? The
Mhm.
image of it's a dichotomy, right? Like when you think of a hotel, you think of people who have enough money that they can stay in a hotel.
And they are not ready for paying a pence.
Yeah, and so that you don't think of refugees who have no money
Mhm.
staying in a hotel. So I think it's a good title because it also is a dichotomy in that way. Oh
What
yeah,
does
so
it signify?
that's based on a song, a children's song from Argentina,
Yes.
which is in Spanish, it would be En el país del no me acuerdo, which
Mhm.
means in a land called I don't remember.
Yes.
And it's by this Argentinian like writer called Maria Elena Walsh. And yeah, it's a very popular lullaby, the children's lullaby in Argentina. So because the play starts in Argentina and ends in Chile, right? I thought it would be an appropriate title. Because there's this very popular children's song in Argentina called In a Land Called I Don't Remember.
Very nice.
And the song it says something like in the land called I don't remember, I take a step forward and I get lost. I take a step back and I get lost. Everywhere I go, I get lost because I'm in the land of I don't remember.
So it also suggests a kind of quest of searching something and not reaching
Yes.
it, just like our characters, whom you said that in a place of limbo, and there is nowhere to get.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
The thing that they are trying to approach is still in the process.
Yes. Yeah. And they're on this bus, which is already a place of limbo, right?
Yes.
When you're on a bus. Yeah.
Yes. And we said that everything was starting in the middle. Thank you, Carmen. Doctor, do you have any question?
Well, I just have a comment here.
Yes.
I don't know if she agrees with me or not. Carmen, please just be patient with me. If you have read, yeah, if you have read Waiting for Godot, you would see that this is a play of a play, and part of one of the important features of a play, characteristics, is that it should have action. But this is a play by Beckett, the absurd theater, early in the 40s, to comment on what was going on in Europe and the difference between pre-war era and post-war era.
Yes.
And he is making a play that has no action whatsoever, but waiting. And the whole time, for 2 hours, I think, or 1 hour, everybody is watching those two Trumps waiting for somebody whose name is Godot, and he never comes. So there is no action, in fact. So the same here. You don't remember. You are lost. You don't know anything. Is this part of the absurdity that Beckett put the basis for it during the 40s and the early 50s? Do you think that the characters that you are talking about, and they are lost and they don't remember, in a land called I don't remember, I think the play is right, which is based on a song, and I don't know whether this is a folklore or not. I'm not sure about that. I want to ask you about this is in vain. This is part of a sort of absurdity
Yes.
of life, right? So do you agree with that, or your intention is far away from such a track?
No, I completely agree with that. That was very well articulated as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, and I'll see if I can find a YouTube video of the song.
Yes.
Great,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. And if I can't find a YouTube video, I'm sure I'll find the lyrics at least on Google, and I can send it along
Exactly.
with the name of the woman who wrote it.
Great.
Mhm.
Great, because while you are talking about it, I just had the link because I teach it every year to my student, fourth year BA students, and part of the themes that we are teaching is that they keep forgetting things because they don't have a clear image or vision of their identity. So they, as if they don't exist, but they are there. They do exist. Memory is something which is very important for everybody because it is it is the essence of his existence. Your memories about life define you. They give me as somebody who remembers who is Carmen Aguirre. Immediately I linked because I saw her, I talked to her. So in a way, I had a sort of shape to what kind of character is that, the person in front of me or the one whom they are mentioning the name. So if you as Carmen, I'm sorry, Yani, just Yani, I'm just making a sort of similarity to what's going on in the play. If you don't remember, it means that you lost your identity. So what's the use of your life if you don't have a history, if you don't have memories, if you don't remember? The image is very hard. As a human being, how did they endure not remembering the past and living the present? And what about the future? So this lost spirit is there, as if life is nothing but a hell of a torture. Right?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
No, that's
Thank you.
great. That's great. Yeah.
Thanks, Doctor.
Mhm.
Can I comment on my doctor's suggestion? Maybe their state of losing identity and belonging to nowhere is a new way of accepting everything, that you cannot belong to anywhere and you can be everywhere. And this is what is our subject is about, that's transculturalism, that you have to transcend something old and you can include something that is in you. Do you
Yeah,
agree with me?
totally. I think that's
Mhm.
beautifully put.
Thank you.
Yeah. Now I can see we only have 5 minutes left.
Yes, we have only
And
5 minutes. So
yeah, and so you want to meet again, I take it?
yes.
Yeah, so maybe
Yes.
we can message each other about that. I know we're going to be cut off, and I just wanted to make sure
Only
that
4
we
minutes.
talked about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can message me and we can decide when we meet again. But
You
yes,
mean
if I
another
could,
day or just a few hours later on?
I think it would have to be another day.
Okay. So
Yeah.
that day will be dedicated for, again, the Refugee Hotel.
Okay,
Okay.
great. Okay,
Thank you, Carmen. Thanks for
thank
your
you. It's great to talk
insightful
with you both.
comments. Thank you, Doctor. Thank you so much.
Oh, maybe she's gone.
Yes, she is waiting. She's waiting because we have problems and connection issues today.
Oh, no. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Hi, Doctor.
Oh.
Hi,
Oh.
Doctor. Doctor, you lost your connection?
Yeah, I'm so sorry. I
Yeah.
lost it. I couldn't, Yani,
Never mind.
yeah.
Welcome back.
Thank
Doctor,
you.
we were saying that we are trying to sum up for today. And again,
Mhm.
or maybe tomorrow or after, we have to meet to talk about the refugee hotel. I don't think Carmen is ready to have another hour. And thank you so much for everything.
Yeah,
Well,
thank
thank
you.
you very much. It was nice talking to her. She's a very nice person, by the
Yeah.
way.
She is.
And the minute I started reading your plays, I really, really admired the author and the mind behind those words.
Yes.
So, and I feel how the journey is torturing for all of us who witnessed such a long journey, trying to come up with
Yes.
who am I and what is happening around me.
Yeah.
So thank you very much, Carmen. Honored to meet you today, and
Thank
inshallah I
you.
will be there next meeting.
Hopefully, most welcome.
Yes,
Thank you,
thank
Milad,
you.
for
Thank you
making
so
this
much.
becoming true. Yeah.
Thank you so much, both of
Thank
you.
you
Thank you.
both so
Goodbye.
much.
See you then.
Okay.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Bye.